Hello everybody and welcome back to Up the Guts, and we are continuing with our season previews today with the Geelong Football Club. If you haven't already watched the other clubs that I have previously done, as we're doing in alphabetical order, make sure to go back and watch it, whether you're watching it on YouTube or you can also stream it through Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so make sure you go back and listen to those. But without further ado, let's get into the Cats. The Cats bounced back in 2024, finishing third after obviously winning the 2022 Premiership, but then not failing to make the 8 in 2023. Bounced back in 2024, finishing third, and looked like a real threat. Max Horan's running through the midfield rather than off half-back, showed a bit of signs. Paddy Dangerfield yet to get his body right, but Jeremy Cameron doing Jeremy Cameron things. Tyson Stengel was back, not quite to his 2022 form, but he was back in form, kicking good goals. And they brought some good ins. One of the more notable ins that they brought in was Bailey Smith from the Western Bulldogs. Obviously did not play at all during 2024 through his injury, but we know what a class player, and I think everyone's forgetting what a class player Bailey Smith is. Couldn't quite break into a full-time midfield role in the Western Bulldogs because of their strong midfield. You got Bontempelli, you had McRae there, you got Liberatore, you got Trelaw, you got all of them going through there. So Bailey Smith, they stuck him more on a half forward, playing him around there. And there was a final series where he nearly won the final series off his own boot. Had 30 plus one game and kicked 3 and was on fire. So I think everyone forgot quickly how much Bailey Smith is, but he's always been in the media because of the status he holds in the social media space. But another person they also brought in was delisted free agent, and Geelong are known for giving lifelines like they've done with like Tyson Stengel. They've done there, giving him the lifeline. They've also given a lifeline to Jack Martin. Now, Jack Martin's a quality player when he gets his body right. Obviously, started his career at Gold Coast. And they've picked him up after being delisted from Carlton. Carlton really liked him. Let's not get that twisted. But it's just the fact he can't get his body right and just can't get on the park. And then we look at some of the draftees they brought in. They brought in Killian Burke at a Cattery B rookie. Jay Pollock and Horn was picked up with pick 44, their first pick. And then Jacob Moyler was picked up with pick 52. Lennox Hoffman, pick 66. Kaita Mutafa Forbes, pick 69. Xavier Usyk and Joe Pike and Patrick Rizeko were all picked up in the rookie draft. Now let's look at some outs. First outs, Phoenix Foster, Joe Furphy, Mitch Hardy were all three of them delisted, and they had a retiree of a great for their club, and that is Tom Hawkins. Now, although Tom Hawkins didn't have a great 2024, didn't get on the park as much, or didn't have the not necessarily not get on the park, sorry, didn't have the impact that we know Tom Hawkins had. The age was getting to him. We know what a great he's been for that club. Also, it took a while to come on in his earlier parts of his career, carrying a bit more weight than he would have liked to, but then what a career he did have, winning games off his own boot countless times for the Geelong Cat, and just a loved player down at the Cattery. Emerson Jecker, continuing with some of the delistings, Emerson Jecker, Oscar Murdoch, Brandon Parker, who is a well-known person in Geelong Cats, was in and out of their side. Obviously, they just had enough with him not being able to play consistent footy through the midfield, because there was games where he played some really good games, really quality AFL level footy. But then there was just games where it just wasn't up to the standards. They just got tired of that. Gary Rollins, interesting one, delisted, broke his nose. I believe, and they delisted him not long after that. But he was a good pickup when they picked him up from Sydney. Played a critical role during the 2022 flag year. Zach Tui retired. Geelong re-amped his career. I'm not quite, don't quote me if he was delisted or trade. I believe he was delisted from Carlton, or it might have been a trade. But coming over to Geelong at Carlton, he was he was a player, like an okay player, but nothing to write home about. But at Geelong, he dominated. Like, he could play at half back, could play half forward, could play the wing. He was a magnet that Chris Scott knew he could just throw around and would just consistently get the job done. And James Willis was also delisted for the Cats. Now let's have a look at their key defensive spots. First we got Jake Kolodjasny, who's a mainstay down there. Probably doesn't take the number one key forward, takes the second to third key forward. Connor O'Sullivan, we don't believe... he was drafted in the 2023 draft. I don't believe he played a game last year. He might have played one or two to the back end, but not that I can recall. But he's a good coming key defender. Sam de Koning was thrown around, and we know the talent that he has. He was thrown around a bit, played a bit more in the ruck as well. I hope he can lock down that spot back down at the key defences spot. I don't see him playing in the ruck, and I see him as a quality key defender when he's at his best. Lennox Hoffman, a draftee, a lot to write home about him. He's obviously taken pick 66, but the recruiters really rated him. He's saying he was a big steal at pick 66, so interesting to see if he can get a game. And Jack Henry, another mainstay, down there in the key defensive spot for the Cats. Now we look at the defenders. Max Hunter is interestingly enough after a breakout year to his standard, playing more midfield, is actually listed as a defender, so that's interesting. Lawson Humphries came on the second half of the year, Northern Territory player, and showed some real good dash off halfback and really used the ball well. Especially, he used the ball well, not only in dry conditions, but used in the wet. So I'm interested to see how he goes on in 2025. Mitch Duncan, obviously, I want to say he's about 35 now, just keeps going. Interesting to see how long left Mitch Duncan does have. Jed Buse, lockdown defender for them. Oyson Mullins showed a few signs, the Irish. Zach Guthrie, who had a really good season in 2023 and 2024, was really impressive. As I thought he was a bit of a, I don't like to use the word hack. I thought he was an average AFL player, but these last two seasons he's been exceptional for them as an intercepting defender. Killian Burke, they picked up in the draft just gone. Mark O'Connor, the Irishman, who can also run through the midfield and play a tagging role, which is also crucial for the Cats as well. And obviously, arguably the best defender in the game, Tom Stewart. Midfielders, they got, obviously we touched on Bailey Smith, Tanner Bruin, Mitch Nevitt. We'll see try and take a big step. Jai Clark, they love, and they've got big raps on a young player, so we'll see if he can play a bit more footy going into 2025. George Stevens, I don't believe we've seen yet. Xavier Usyk was picked up in this year's draft. Patrick Dangerfield, can his body get right? Because when he's playing, he's such a damaging player. More playing that forward half role now, needs to be playing that, bursting from stoppages and kicking, hopefully hitting the scoreboard as much as he can, getting the inside 50 kicks. His disposal isn't always the best, but it's just his burst and stoppages is so crucial, all the power for his legs. And Ted Cloesi, who we have not seen yet. As I flip the page over in the rucks, they got Reece Stanley, Mark Blitzarves, who is such a crucial player. Mark Blitzarves, you can put him on a wing, play him as a midfielder, you can play him in the ruck, or we've seen him being All-Australian as a full-back. So you know that magnet can be thrown anywhere. Don't matter his size, he's got the athletic ability to play just about anywhere. So Mark Blitzarves is such a crucial player for the Cats. Toby Conway, we saw it a few times last year, looked really good. They really do rate him down there to hopefully take that number one ruck role from Reece Stanley, and then keep allowing them to play Mark Blitzarves as that float around player and just put him wherever they need him. Mitchell Edwards, we haven't seen yet. Jake Moylier, who was picked up in this year's draft, as was Joe Pike. Joe, if I want to say what, Joe Pike was picked up in this year's rookie draft. We look at key forwards, obviously Jeremy Cameron, arguably one of the best players in the game. See what Jezza can do this year again. Shannon Neal, I thought was really good last year. Was good. I thought he was averaging nearly he was averaging at least a goal a game, maybe even 2 goals a game. So I thought, especially with the height, is really crucial down there to hopefully take over that Tom Hawkins role. Ollie Henry is always one that probably goes a bit under the radar. He'll kick you your 2 to 3 a game, and while he's listed as a key forward, he's probably not the key forward height, but he's just got that athletic ability to take that mark over the head, a really good overhead as well. And Jay Pollinghorn, who was picked up in this year's draft. Now we look at their general forwards. We've got Sean Manor, who was picked up in last year's draft and was really good, I thought, for the Geelong Cats after coming across from wherever the age of 28. So let's take a bit of water. Coming across, and he just uses the ball so well, and he's a person who can also go inside and get his own ball. Tyson Stengel, we talked on a bit earlier. Jack Martin, we also talked on. Brian Myers, as in his last 2 seasons, been a magnificent season with him. The Leo Messi of the AFL. Brad Close just does what Brad Close does. He works his way up on the ground and works his way back with his speed. Oliver Wiltshire, I want to say. was picked up in... Nope, so he just hasn't been seen yet. And Kyton Mateo Forbes was picked up in this year's national draft. Sorry. Now, prediction going into 2025, with the Cats finishing around that 4th mark, I just don't see them dropping away. You'd be stupid to write the Cats off because they've proved everyone wrong time and time again. So just be stupid, not go. Now, look out for not much to touch on. I've touched on this player enough today, but it's Bailey Smith because I just think everyone's forgetting how good of a quality player he is, and he'll be wanting to come out and prove a point. Needs to lift. I've got Mark O'Connor, who I did touch on earlier, can play that tagging role for the midfield as well of halfback, but he's 28 years old now. He's played the 8 seasons, and he's going into his 9th season. In 2024, I thought he was quite average. Played the 12 matches, only averaging just under 12 disposals, and only kicked the 2 goals. With his best game round for 5 versus North Melbourne, 50 disposals, 80% efficiency, 9 marks, 5 tackles and a goal. Well, I think that tagging is coming back into the game. I think they need to look to use him more as a tagger, although they are looking to possibly use Mark Blitzov as that role as well, especially on the bigger body midfielders. They're finding Mark Blitzov because he's got the ability to go with them. So what does that mean for Mark O'Connor? We'll have to see in 2025. Can he prove something different for them? Well, there you have it, guys. There is my 2025 season preview for the Geelong Cats. I have them predicted finishing around that 4th mark. Look out for the returning and ready to prove a point Bailey Smith, and needs to lift Mark O'Connor. Thank you guys for listening. As always, make sure you click that subscribe button on YouTube and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss an upload. If you're listening to this via Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that follow button and turn on that notification bell so you do not miss an upload. Until next time, I'll see you guys then.